Good Tuesday afternoon to you from the Mount Calvary Athletic Complex here in Mount Calvary, Wisconsin, just a little ways east of Fond du Lac, where this afternoon we have a Flyweight Conference matchup between Winnebago Lutheran Academy and St. Mary's Springs Academy. Jordan King with you here, getting ready for game number 2 of my season and game number 2 here on Radio Plus over the last couple of days. Last Thursday we saw Laconia come here on the road to the Mount Calvary Athletic Club and take care of Springs. That game got close late, but Laconia able to win it 6-4. Last week, and that was Springs' first loss of the season. They were going to play Game 2 on Friday. That one got rescheduled for later on in May, so Springs comes into this one 2-1 in Flyweight Conference play. For WLA, they got one game in last week against Lemira in conference play. That was a win on the road, 5-2 the final there. They'll play the Lions again first week in May. So 1-2 on the season is WLA. They lost 4-1 and 3-2. Week 1 they got swept by Omro. We talked about it if you were with us last game. The first week of the Flyway season maybe was a little bit of a head scratcher. You had Mayville getting swept by North Fondy Oakfield. You had Campbellsport getting swept in impressive fashion by Springs. You had WLA getting swept by Omro, and then a split with Lemira and Laconia. And we'll take a look at the Flyway Conference standings throughout the game today. We'll kind of update you on those, on the other matchups going on this week as well. But we'll take a pregame show timeout here. Our pregame show is brought to you by Right Way Home Improvement, and when we come back, we'll introduce you to the starting lineups and get you ready for first pitch, which is about 13 minutes away here on Radio Plus. Stay with us.
At Musa Sheet Metal, they spend generations building a better everyday life. They don't just build panels, they build a legacy. They're growing, innovating, and pushing the limits again with their brand new 24-gauge stocked steel line. Musa colors created by the Musa team, 25 bold choices ready to go, delivering the best solutions in architectural sheet metal. Say hi to the Musa apprentices. They're your neighbors, your classmates, and the future of the industry. Musa Sheet Metal, revolutionizing steel, building the future.
Gutters is a pain, but ignoring them could ruin the value of your home. Gutter Helmet is the solution. Choose the perfect color to blend with your home, and our certified technicians will install Gutter Helmet in less than a day. Call Gutter Helmet today to never clean your gutters again.
Taco Bell's new Lutz Value menu has so much Lutz, it's starting to go to people's heads. I'm the Lutzierge.
Which is the mini taco salad fork?
Here to help them cope. So when you try the mini taco salad, beefy potato loaded griller, or chips and nacho supreme dip, enjoy the Lutz. Just don't let it go to your head.
Yeah, bring the car around.
You know there's no valet.
Then who's getting the car?
Taco Bell's new Lutz Value menu. 10 extravagant indulgences, all $3 or less.
In a tight ball game between Lemira softball and Winnebago Lutheran Academy softball, this Lemira play of the game propelled the Lions to a Flyweight Conference victory.
That one slapped into right. Going to be a tough play for Schaumburg. Drops in front of her. Gets by her. Westfall with a double into right. She's going to keep running. She'll go to third. Gostner will score. A 2 RBI triple for Isabel Westfall. The ball gets away. She's coming home. Throw up the line. She's safe. Just like that.
Izzy, 3 RBIs, and a triple for you that ended up you scoring on as a overthrow. But for you guys, good resilience tonight. You gave up the bases loaded block early in the game. Couldn't get the bats rolling until the middle of the portion game. What was a message from Coach Clark, in that second to third inning when things started rolling?
So this week our team motto is fight, and we have this card before we start a game. And she was like, how are you guys going to fight? And she brought that up third inning, and I feel like it finally went through our heads. Like, start fighting for this because we want to win. We want to be on the top.
This is our Lens Truck Center of Fond du Lac and Radio Plus Video Sports Play of the Week.
Back here on the Right Way Home Improvement pregame show. There you saw our Lens Truck Center Play of the Week. And, my vote for Play of the Week didn't get it. That play last week, big play, bottom of the sixth inning, Asher Morgan for Laconia. Double play, pretty much by himself. Hard hit ball up the middle. Bases were loaded. Big time play got out of the inning for Laconia. They ended up winning that game here against Springs 6-4. You saw it right here on Radio Plus. All right, back here on the pregame show, we have our Silica for your home starting lineups. Let's start with the visiting Winnebago Lutheran Academy Vikings as the coaches get together with the umpires at home plate and exchange lineup cards down there. Here's how the Vikings will line it up today. First base, Evan Cole wears number 24. He's going to bat leadoff this afternoon. In the 2-hole, second baseman, number 1, Isaac Lamont. Batting third, playing short, number 8, Owen Elke. Batting cleanup and doing the catching, number 4, Mason Faust. On the bump today for WLA is number 15, Sam Ferguson. He'll hit in the 5-hole. Hitting sixth and playing center field, number 5, Harrison Billets. Number 3 is senior Nolan Dragolovich. He's going to play third and hit 7th. Batting 8th and playing left field, number 9, Malachi Wickert. And then out in right field and batting in the 9-hole, number 33, Hayden Dins. Those are the starters for WLA. And on the bump, we mentioned Sam Ferguson. He'll face this lineup for St. Mary's Springs. At short and leading off, number 20, Max Sedonico. Center fielder and in the 2-hole, number 6, Cale Krusik. Batting third and catching, number 17, Killian Stuffel. Batting cleanup and pitching for Springs, number 12, Jack Sobel. Number 21 is Carter Bartelt. He plays first base and bats fifth. Number 30, the designated hitter, hitting sixth, Beckett Longley. Hitting seventh and playing left field, number 9, Matt Miller. Batting eighth and playing right field, number 18, Garver Beekle. And batting ninth, playing second base, number 24, Calvin Steffes. And then the defensive replacement for the DH Beckett Longley is third baseman number 26, Micah Schneider. So that's how the Ledgers line up. And as I mentioned, we'll take a look back at that loss against Laconia, and it was just the complete opposite of what we've seen for Springs all season long. They had jumped out to quick starts, and the offense was all over opponents for their first, whatever it was, 5 games of the season. And then it was, and credit Tillman Madigan, the starting pitcher for Laconia, just able to quiet the bats pretty much nothing until that sixth inning. And then some good defense got him out of it. And then Laconia was able to survive with some of their bullpen pitching in the seventh inning. But, man, it was just something that Springs has not experienced in terms of the offense not being there last Thursday. For WLA, mentioned they got their first win in conference play last week against Lamira on the road, and Lamira's a young team. They lost a lot off of last year's team. WLA went to Lamira, got the 5-2 win. We'll do the best we can with the box score. I got the pencil and paper going on this afternoon. My media pass for Game Changer was revoked over the weekend. I didn't know. I wasn't looking at Game Changer, so there you go. They must not believe I'm doing the media thing anymore. So I don't have access to the Game Changer today, so we'll do our best to keep track of pitches, but we'll have the box score for you throughout today's contest. Pitching matchup today, Sam Ferguson, the senior for Winnebago Lutheran, going against Jack Sobel, the starting pitcher for Springs. Max Sedonico, the normal starter for Springs, not going to be the starter here this afternoon. It's going to go to Jackson Sobel. So looking forward to that. That's kind of what there is to look for here. Once again, starting lineups brought to you by Silica for your home. And Right Way Home Improvement is the sponsor of our pregame show. Let's sneak in one more time out here before we get rolling. We'll have first pitch right on the other side on Radio Plus.
Today's game is brought to you by Edward Jones and these area Edward Jones financial advisors. Robert Bruce, located at 68 North Main Street. Patrick Ellistad, located at 560 Fond du Lac Avenue. Jeff Wills, located at 649 Fond du Lac Avenue. And Matt Helmer, located at 649 Fond du Lac Avenue. Good luck to all athletes in today's game. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
At Radio Plus, we're proud to bring you stream team coverage of local sporting events. Our team is dedicated to providing live coverage from across Wisconsin, supporting the local teams and communities we know and love. What began as a one-person operation with play-by-play on radio has grown into a 5 or 6-person production. Keeping pace with the latest technology, equipment, and personnel is not only demanding, but costly. If you'd like to support this broadcast as a sponsor or a donor in any way, please scan the QR code on the screen.
Back here at the Mount Calvary Athletic Club, getting you set for the Vikings and the Ledgers. First pitch in just a couple of minutes. As we mentioned, Jack Sobel on the bump for Springs. He'll face Evan Cole, Isaac Lamont, and Owen Elke. If anyone gets on base, it'll be Mason Faust in that cleanup hole for WLA, who obviously under Coach Mike Seibel has had a long career at Winnebago Lutheran, a lot of success as well at WLA. And for the Vikings last season, really an uncharacteristically slow start. But the one thing that I think most coaches around this conference would tell you is WLA is going to play their best ball by the end of the season. WLA playing much better to start the year this year, and obviously it's something that Coach Seibel's gotta like, and that includes some inexperience as well. I mean, Harrison Billett's a sophomore out in center field. Malachi Wickert, Hayden Dins, a couple of underclassmen. In fact, the entire outfield is underclassmen for WLA. So obviously experience is coming along for WLA, but not something that at the bottom of the order that they have a ton of. Now, the top of the order, these guys have played varsity pretty much their whole high school careers, and that's leading off with Evan Cole. The first baseman digs in, and we're just about ready to go. Here's the first one from Jackson Sobel, and it's in there for a strike. Cole, left-handed hitting first baseman, brother of Ethan Cole, got drafted by the Colorado Rockies last season. 1-1, up and outside for Jack Sobel. See if Springs can start off a little better. Now, Max Sadonico kind of motored right through the first 2 innings against Laconia. Then the wheels fell off with some shaky defense and some hard-hit balls from Laconia. Strike 2 in there from Jack Sobel, and he's ahead 1-2 on Evan Cole. Cole got to protect with the 2 strikes. This one's in there, swung on and fouled straight back by Cole. He stays alive. Springs 4-2 on the season. Had a loss in a tournament about a week and a half ago, and then the loss in conference last time out against Laconia. Off-speed pitch just on the outside corner, and it's 2-2 to Evan Cole. Good eye for Cole there. That one was pretty close to take with 2 strikes he did, and it was not on the plate according to the umpire, and now it's run full. So Cole was down 1-2, battles his way all the way back to a full count. Wind is blowing out, and there is a stiff breeze out to center field. Swung on and missed. Evan Cole, the first casualty of the day on the arm of Jack Sobel. And the righty's got his first strikeout of the game. That's a good start for Jackson Sobel. Got ahead. A little loose on a couple of pitches, but then got the job done. In steps Isaac Lamont, the second baseman. This one in play out to shorts. There's Max Sadonico. He doesn't make many errors out there. He is as good as they come. And he throws out Isaac Lamont. Quick 6-3 put out, and just like that, Jackson Sobel has a couple of outs. Sobel coming home with a first pitch strike to Owen Elke. Elke, last year as a sophomore, just every time he got an opportunity early in the season, this one's grounded back to Sadonico, makes the play, throws on to first to Bartelt, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Jackson Sobel We'll continue that conversation about Owen Elke next time he comes to the plate, but a good start for Springs. 1-2-3 for Jack Sobel. He gets out of the inning with fewer than 10 pitches. We head to the bottom of the first, scoreless. Springs up to bat next.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
AirTech delivers whatever it takes service to take care of you. Bryant and AirTech Heating of Fond du Lac.
Walk right in. That's the laid-back feeling you have when you work with the Roush Insurance Agency in Fond du Lac. Their agents are dedicated to putting your mind at ease when you make your insurance decisions. They live, work, and play here and will make sure that they are there at the time of need for their clients and families. Visit RoushINS.com for more information or walk right in. 770 South Main Street in Fond du Lac. The Roush Insurance Agency, your hometown insurance team for over 30 years.
Bottom of the first here between WLA and Springs. Strikeout and a couple of 6-3 putouts for Jack Sobel in the top half of that inning and motored right along. Evan Cole saw 7 pitches in his at-bat, and then Sobel was able to record the next 2 outs on just 3 pitches. So very efficient first inning for Jack Sobel. And we'll see if Springs, I kind of mentioned it during their hot start to the season. They were 4-1, obviously hung double-digit runs on Campbell Sport. Just really, if you weren't paying attention to maybe some of the pregame or preseason adjudications, maybe you didn't realize how much Campbell Sport had lost, and they're dealing with some injuries and all that, and Springs is one of the more experienced teams in the conference in terms of production returning. But I think that surprised a lot of people, not just sweeping Campbell Sport, but the way that they did it. And in the early part of that season, it was the offense early in ball games and building early leads. First pitch from Sam Ferguson, not there. And it's 2-0 as that one off the plate as well. So he falls behind Max Sadonico quickly, who was busy in the top half of this inning. Couple of putouts from his shortstop position. That one's downstairs, and it's 3-0. Don't want to put Sadonico on base. Good athlete, smart base runner. He does so many things so well. I mean, he's their number 1 pitcher, and it's a 4-pitch walk here to Sadonico. And, well, it took Springs a couple of innings to find their first base runner against Tillman Madigan, and even then, those base runners were short-lived against the Laconia ace. And here, first batter, Sadonico reaches on 4 pitches. So Ferguson forced to operate from the stretch here early, and that one is well upstairs, and that's going to draw a meeting with head coach Mike Seibel. 5 pitches, and he wants to make sure that he can settle his number 1 pitcher down. Now, coming into the season, WLA thought Ty Ferris was going to be their ace. Ferris sustained an injury already this season, and so no Ty Ferris. Did not have an opportunity to check with the coaching staff if they have a feeling on if and when they'll get Ferris back, but that's a big loss. I mean, a team that a season ago relied on Andy Simon and Ty Ferris, and Evan Cole did some pitching. Isaac Lamont, we've seen him already this year for WLA. There's strike number 1 of the game for Sam Ferguson, and 1-1 count here working against Cale Krusik. Krusik was as stifled as we've seen against Laconia, just could not figure Tillman Madigan out. Squares around a bunt, pulls it back, but it was in there anyway. 1-2 count here to Krusik. So after the quick visit to the mound, 3 straight strikes for Sam Ferguson. Swung on there, thought Krusik might have gotten a piece. He did not. And the first out of the inning to Sam Ferguson goes on a swinging strikeout against Cale Krusik. Might have got a piece either way. Mason Faust behind the dish caught it. And the first out of the game for Springs. Checking on Max Sedonico as Killian Stuffle, the left-handed batter, does the catching for Springs. He digs in. He's got power, that's for sure. He doesn't need help with the wind, but he'll have it today. That is upstairs on the bender from Sam Ferguson, trying to get an off-speed pitch in there to Stoffel to start his at-bat. Sedonico goes, swung on, missed, down to second. Nice tag there by Owen Elke, and Sedonico is cut down. Good throw by Faust, and a caught stealing. Sedonico beat it, but man, what a tag from Owen Elke from his shortstop position. So the second out of the inning, a big one, and the strike there on Stuffle, so it's 1-1 with 2 down. That changes the complexion of this first inning with a big RBI guy at the dish.
It's the dawn of a new day for Dr. Kathy
Stuffle.
Doyle Kelly.
That was off the plate there, 2-1 count. Ferguson continues to work. Now back in the windup. That was outside, so 3-1 count. Man, if Stuffle were to walk, that would really make that.
It's the dawn of a
out. Instead, he puts it in play over to Isaac Lamont, ranges over to his left and makes a nice throw back over to Cole. 1, 2, 3 goes Springs after Sedonico cut down on the base paths, and it's scoreless. Both pitchers have faced the minimum, albeit in different ways. We head to the second. Scoreless. Here, the Vikings and the Ledgers on Radio Plus.
new day for Dr. Kathy Doyle Kelly and Doyle Kelly Family Dentistry.
I'm Dr. Dylan Fogel, and I'm now the new owner of Doyle Kelly Family Dentistry. I'm truly honored to carry forward the tradition of personalized care you've come to know and trust. You'll still see Dr. Kathy and all the familiar faces who make this office feel like home. At Doyle Kelly Family Dentistry, we promise to do everything we can to keep you smiling before, after, and even during your appointment.
Doyle Kelly Family Dentistry will be changing its name to Fogel Family Dentistry in 2026. Find Dr. Dylan Fogel on Fond du Lac Avenue in Fond du Lac.
Here on Radio Plus, Jordan King with you. Through one, as I mentioned, both pitchers have faced the minimum. Jack Sobel mowed right through the first three batters for Winnebago Lutheran. Sam Ferguson had to labor a little bit. He walked Sedonico on 4 straight pitches and then had a 3 ball count, to Killian Stuffle. But thanks to Mason Faust throwing out Sedonico on a steal attempt, got out of there after facing just the minimum 3. So top of the second inning, Mason Faust digs in, the catcher for WLA, to face Sobel for the first time. Sobel comes home inside on the first pitch, and he falls behind Faust here early. WLA's got a small roster. Second pitch is also inside, so a 2-0 count here for Mason Faust. A hitter's count, but WLA only 2 available players off their bench. Bodie Faust and Oliver Yenter, the only 2 available for Coach Mike Seibel should he need to make a change. That pitch in there on the outside corner, and it's 2-1 to Faust. Sobel comes home with it. That one grounded to third. Nice backhanded play made there by Micah Schneider, and the throw a little bit off the mark, but a nice play. Good stretch by Carter Bartelt. Puts away Mason Faust. Schneider, nice backhanded play. It's a long throw. Saw him play shortstop against Laconia when Sedonico pitched. And he's playing well ahead of third base there in the hot shot. He was able to handle it. Well, here's the pitcher, Sam Ferguson. Other half of his battery just grounded out. That's 3 groundouts so far for Jack Sobel that he has forced for WLA. First pitch was a ball. That's a swinging strike, and it evens the count at 1-1. That pitch outside as well. A little bit of a tighter zone than we saw against, at least, again, we have the worst spot. I said this 3 or 4 times. We have the worst seat in the house to call balls and strikes. I'm not, but just certainly, ooh, careful down there. Sam Ferguson got his head out of the way. That was, Sobel lost that one. It is like one of the first real warm kind of, there's a nice breeze, but you can still, it's still got a little hint of humidity in the air, so got to deal with that sweat for the first time this year. Here's Sobel, and it's 3-2, full count. Getting back to that, though, it seems like it's maybe a touch tighter of a zone than we saw last Thursday, where you got that black and maybe a little bit extra as a strike. That's inside, and a walk issued here to Sam Ferguson, so Ferguson walked Sedonico in the bottom of the first, and now he's in his own rank, got a walk, and he's on first base. That'll bring up Harrison Billets, the center fielder for the Vikings, sophomore. That one's in the dirt. Takes a lot to get a pitch past Killian Stuffle. He is a very good defensive catcher. Saw a good block there. Sobel checks on Sam Ferguson. Working from the stretch, comes home. That's high. So a 2-0 count here to Harrison Billets. If you've ever seen a Mike Seibel coached WLA team, you know they play the small ball. Would not be surprised to see Billets square around and try to get Ferguson in the scoring position. We'll see. That's upstairs, though. And after walking Sam Ferguson, now Jackson Sobel down 3-0 to Harrison Billets. Short lead at first for Ferguson. Sobel not worried about him, comes home. That one was upstairs too. And so a 4-pitch walk to Harrison Billets puts a couple of runners on with nobody out. And here comes the senior Nolan Dragolovich and Killian Stuffle. Here's some of the maturity of the tremendous catcher that he is for Springs. Wants to have a quick conversation with Jackson Sobel. Saw this on Thursday as well. He went out and had an early talk with Max Sedonico too. So Nolan Dragolovich to the dish. Third baseman. Had to sit out last year, transferred into the program. Not able to play, but his senior season he is. And a nice bender in there for Sobel. There's strike one. There's a sigh of relief there. Just get one across the plate. I'm sure that was the message from Killian Stuffle. Just get one here. Get back into that groove that he was in the first inning. Pickoff attempt back to second base. Not handled there by Calvin Steffes, but didn't matter. Ferguson not on the move. Ferguson, good speed. Perhaps not great, but we'll see if Coach Seibel would get aggressive with something hitting the grass here. This is fouled sharply back towards the WLA dugout, and it's an 0-2 count quickly for Jack Seibel working against Nolan Dragolovich. Out number 2 would look mighty fine right now for Jackson Seibel. Another one of his ground balls that we've seen 3 of today. That would also work. Try to get him out of the inning with a double play. Let's see. 0-2 count. Seibel comes home inside. Pretty close. I mean, you can see it there. It's not far off the plate, but certainly on the inner half. 1-2 count to Dragolovich. Swung on. Line down the left field line. Here comes Sam Ferguson. And WLA is going to put the first run on the board. The throw from Matt Miller is cut off. And an RBI for Nolan Dragolovich. And WLA is the first to strike here this afternoon. Good patience by Dragolovich to wait back, line it down that left field line. Still soft out there. You can tell when the ball hits. We've had so much moisture and rain, and you can tell. Sabel comes home here and fouled away. This is Malachi Wickert, the left fielder for Winnebago Lutheran. He's down 0-1. But how about Nolan Dragolovich there? Down 0-2. Fouls one off. Stays alive. Finds an RBI for the Vikings. Wickert lines this one down the left field line, but foul. And he's quickly down 0-2, same as Dragolovich. Got to be something that we'll see if the second time through for WLA. We've seen a number of balls that are pulled foul. They're too far out ahead. And as I mentioned, nice job by Dragolovich on his hit to wait for it. 0-2 pitch is fouled straight back, and Wickert stays alive. Harrison Billets out at second base. Good speed there. Good speed certainly at first with Nolan Dragolovich. 0-2 pitch to Wickert from Sabel. That one's inside and at the knees. Very similar pitch that Dragolovich was able to lay off, and a lot of times on that inside corner, batters are a little more easily identify a ball there. That one, once again, way in front, Wickert, but he stays alive. Good hands down there at third base by Mike Seibel from the Vikings. And a stray ball finds its way onto the field. Trying to get one of the foul balls back to the umpire, and miscommunication there. All right, here we go. 1-2 to Wickert. That's in the dirt. Nice block by Killian Stuffel. He saved an extra base for both Harrison Billets and Nolan Dragolovich. That had put two runners in scoring position with just one out. That was a big-time block made by Stuffel. 2-2 is the count for Jack Sabel. Comes home to Wickert. That one's downstairs. So a full count worked here by Wickert. As I mentioned, another one of these underclassmen outfielders who by necessity is getting some time here in his freshman season. Swung on and missed, and that is a big-time strikeout by Jackson Sabel to get the second out of the inning. And here comes the bottom of the order with Hayden Dins. Well, can't play the small ball now. 2 outs for WLA. Probably won't see a bunt laid down, I wouldn't imagine. Dins digs in. Ball 1. See if Sabel can get out of this jam with just one run given up. Dins sharply to third. It's a fair ball. Here comes Billets around third base. He's held up, stops, and now he's in no man's land. He's caught in a rundown, and he's tagged out there to end. Oh, hang on. Yeah, he was out. Took a second, but miscommunication there with the third base coach, Mike Seibel. Billets thrown out. And what could have been, should have been, would have been an RBI for Hayden Dins goes down for out number 3 of the inning. We head to the bottom of the second. WLA 1, Spring 0.
gutters is a pain, but ignoring them could ruin the value of your home. Gutter Helmet is the solution. Choose the perfect color to blend with your home, and our certified technicians will install Gutter Helmet in less than a day. Call Gutter Helmet today to never clean your gutters again.
Back here at Mount Calvary Athletic Club. Bottom of the second, WLA gets one run, but probably should have had another. And Billets didn't get a great read off. Obviously he should be running on the contact. I don't know if he thought he had to slow down for potentially the third baseman to get it. There's certain instincts, obviously, playing the game of baseball that you just have when that ball's hit in front of you. Sometimes you freeze instinctually, and I didn't see if that was the case with Billets, but certainly looked like he would maybe have the room to score, and then rounded and got about halfway home. 2 balls and no strikes for Sam Ferguson working here against Jack Sobel, by the way. And then just stopped and went back to third, and the throw went to third. Had he kept going home, I think he would have scored. Good poke from Hayden Dins, bottom of the order, to roll that order over. Would have given Evan Cole a chance with runners in scoring position, but instead we go to the bottom of the second. There's the first strike of the inning for Sam Ferguson after starting with a 4-pitch walks to Max Sedonico in the first. Now a 3-1 count here to Jack Sobel. That one lined into left, and Sobel's got himself a base hit. Jack Sobel trying to help his own cause. Good contact there between the 5-6 hole in the left side of the infield. So he's on first. Here comes Carter Bartelt, first baseman, left-handed hitter. And Springs, for the second time, has their leadoff man on. Ball 1. In the first inning, Max Sedonico ended up getting thrown out. See what the Ledgers can do here in the second. That one's upstairs. 2-0 count to Carter Bartelt. Designated hitter Beckett Longley on deck. That one's upstairs as well. So back-to-back 3-0 counts to start this second inning for Sam Ferguson. And he's already had a 4-pitch walk in this game. There's another. That one's in the dirt. Been at second anyway on the walk. But 2 on, nobody out. And some loose pitching here from Sam Ferguson in the second inning as well. His second outside, ball number 1. Ferguson's got to find it here. Evan Cole was in very close to home plate. That one's upstairs as well. And here comes another visit from Coach Mike Seibel. It's a 2-0 count. Trying to settle Ferguson down again. He's thrown 10 pitches in this inning. Make it 11 pitches in this inning, and 7 of them have been strikes, or balls, excuse me. Check that, my math's off. 8 of them have been balls. So another conversation with head coach Mike Seibel. And a big-time opportunity here for Beckett Longley and the rest of this Springs order. 2-1 count. Long look in from Sam Ferguson. Looks back to second. This one is down from Beckett Longley. It's a great bunt over to first base. And a good throw by Sam Ferguson, but how about the sacrifice? 1-4 putout, first out of the inning, but Beckett Longley gets the job done. Moving up a couple of runners into scoring position with just 1 out. Here comes Matt Miller. Gets the start today in left field. Up there with an aggressive mindset after you watch A couple of guys walk in front of you. Not a lot of strikes being thrown. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled sharply over there to third base. But Beekle stays alive, 0-2. He waits for Ferguson. Kicks and deals with the bases loaded. That one hits. That's Carter Bartell. Good check by Mason Faust. A little bit late. But a 1-2. A little bit late. But a 1-2 count here to Cal Steffes. Ferguson comes home. Off-speed pitch is inside. 2-2. Off-speed pitch is inside. 2-2.
Much Lutz. It's starting to go to people's heads. I'm the Lutzierge.
Which is the mini taco salad fork?
Here to help them cope. So when you try the mini taco salad, beefy potato loaded griller, or chips and nacho supreme dip, enjoy the Lutz. Just don't let it go to your head.
Yeah, bring the car around.
You know there's no valet.
Then who's getting the car?
Taco Bell's new Lutz Value Menu. 10 extravagant indulgences, all $3 or less.
At Musa Sheet Metal, they spend generations building a better everyday life. They don't just build panels, they build a legacy. They're growing, innovating, and pushing the limits again with their brand new 24-gauge stocked steel line. Musa colors created by the Musa team, 25 bold choices ready to go, delivering the best solutions in architectural sheet metal. Say hi to the Musa apprentices. They're your neighbors, your classmates, and the future of the industry. Musa Sheet Metal, revolutionizing steel, building the future.
We return here for the third inning. Jack Sobel now a 3-1 lead with which to work. And, man, you go back to the last out of the second inning, top of the second inning, and that second was just a nightmare for WLA with mistake after mistake. You had their base running error by Harrison Billets that ended that second top of the half of the second inning when WLA probably should have been leading 2-0 with the top of their order up and a couple of guys on base. Instead, just 1-0, and then 2 walks, hit by pitch, couple of singles later, and Springs has a 3-1 lead. Evan Cole steps in for the Vikings to start this third inning, and the first pitch is low. I go back to that Beekle at bat. I know I've said it a couple of times here, but that is a big mistake. You can't hit a guy 0-2. And, you know, there's gifts, and then there's that. And that obviously is a big reason Springs was able to sustain the inning. That obviously scored their first run. Strike in there for Sobel working against Cole. 2-1 count to Evan Cole. Cole struck out the first time. This time grounds one over to the left side. Sedonico, tough throw back across the diamond. It's safe. Evan Cole booking it down the line, and that was one heck of a play made by Max Sedonico. That's about as long a throw as you can have, and if Cole beat that by a full step, that was it. About a half step. Great play made over there at short, which we're accustomed to seeing by Max Sedonico. So the leadoff man on for WLA for the first time tonight, and in steps Isaac Lamont. He's down 0-1 quickly. If you're WLA, you're thinking, gotta respond right away. Wash those mistakes out of your mouth. That pitch outside from Jack Sobel. Owen Elke is on deck. He's been somewhat of an RBI machine for WLA over the last year and change. This one lined into right center. Going to be a tough play. It's down out there in the gap. Isaac Lamont looks to second. Here is Cole at third. And Coach Seibel thought about sending Cole, but thought better of it. So it's just a double out to right center for Isaac Lamont, and WLA looks like they want to respond right away. Beautiful piece of hitting, waited back on it, drove it into the gap. Did Isaac Lamont. Here's Owen Elke. During his first at-bat, I was mentioning, Elke didn't get a ton of opportunities just right away. Here's a ground ball right to Sadonico. Oh, and it's through the glove and through the legs of Max Sadonico. They're going to send Isaac Lamont home, and we are tied at 3. That's a collector's item. You don't see that ever from Max Sadonico. And on the E6, Elke reaches. Elke got just few opportunities, but every time he got an opportunity last year early in the season, he made the most out of it. He got a hit, and it just every time just kept chipping away at it. By the end of the season, he was starting most games for WLA. He played a lot of second base for them last year. Pretty much couldn't be taken off the field. That's what you want one of your players to do. There he gets a couple of RBIs on, depending on if you qualify that as an error. I would say that was an error by Max Sadonico, just knowing his qualities. Nonetheless, WLA ties things up before Springs can even record an out. Faust pops this one up over to the first base side. Bartelt can't quite get there. Tough play. Going away from it, and it hit off the top of the fence over there, so just a really tough play for Carter Bartelt to try to make. Good hustle over there, about a step and a half away. Elke at first, 0-2 count here to Mason Faust. Sabo comes home. Faust watches strike 3. Good looking pitch there from Jack Sabo. First out of the inning. Evan Cole with the leadoff single. Isaac Lamont hit a double, and then Owen Elke put the ball in play on a sharply hit ball out to Max Sadonico, who had it go off his glove and through his legs. Both runners scored. Here's the pitcher, Sam Ferguson. He's ahead 1-0 on the count. Check on Owen Elke. He's in there easily. Three to 3 here in the top of the third. 1-0 pitch here from Jackson Sabo. That one is lined out to left. Miller's got a beat on it and makes the play. Hit hard by Sam Ferguson out to left field. Matt Miller, as I mentioned, got a good read on it. Good first step. Made the play. Got to get something up into the jet stream a little bit. The line drives like that aren't going to be helped by this wind, but you do have the breeze helping you out to right center this afternoon. Here's Harrison Billets. First pitch in there for a strike. Billets walked back in the second inning and then was cut down trying to get back to third on a base running miscommunication. Sabo comes home. This one is swung on. That was in the dirt. Billets chased, and it's 0-2. Count here. Jackson Sabo looks at Elke, comes back home, fouled off by Billets, and you could hear, you probably couldn't on the stream. I could hear Coach Seibel down there saying, be a tough out still, and good start there for Harrison Billets, getting some contact on it and staying alive. Good response for WLA. See if they can add on to it here with a couple of outs. That one's high. Throw back down to first. Elke's back in. Good snap throw by Killian Stuffel. One of the better backstops you're going to find in the Flyway Conference, that's for sure. So the count is 1-2 to Harrison Billets. Elke with a nice lead at first. That's another bender off speed and another strikeout to end the inning. WLA gets a couple of runs on a couple of hits and an error. Here in the third, we head to the bottom, tied up at 3.
When we first began with high school sports and video streaming, it was a camera or two. It's grown to multiple cameras, multiple angles, a switcher operator, a couple of announcers, on-field shots, and really we do all this to enhance the viewership.
With the larger scale production, we just have more options, more camera shots, more quality, with our interviews during the game, post-game, and pre-game, really bring a great product to families that are watching at home or watching after the fact.
Students have families in different communities, different states, even different countries. All those people are able to watch our broadcast and see their family performing at a really high level.
We like to think of it as not just being there for a game, but really enhancing the community involvement with this, and that's what it's about.
So headed to the bottom of the third inning, due up here for St. Mary's Springs, Killian Stuffel, Jack Sobel, Carter Bartelt. Nearly batted around in the bottom of the second, but they were definitely aided with the struggles of Sam Ferguson in that second inning as well. See if he can find the strike zone a little bit more consistently here in the third. Another off-speed pitch. He's relied on that today, and when that has not found the strike zone, it's been tough sledding out there on the bump for Ferguson. 1-0 pitch. I think that went behind. It's hard to tell from our angle. That might have gone behind Killian Stuffel. First time through, Stuffel with a 4-3 ground out. That's outside. So another 3-ball count. WLA, I mean, it was pretty clear early in the game they were going to have to go to the bullpen at some point today. That's a strike on the inside corner. But they'd like to get as much out of Sam Ferguson as they can get here this afternoon. Ground ball here to first. Nice play by Evan Cole in the first out of the inning on the unassisted putout for Cole. And, hey, Ferguson's found himself in a lot of 3-ball counts. He's, outside of that second inning, he's done a nice job of just battling and finding a way to get outs. Even in that second inning, a couple of backwards Ks, a couple of strikeouts there. That, nearly hit Jackson Sobel, and he kind of could see there Sobel kind of leaning back and kicking himself a little bit that he didn't just let that one clip the jersey. Ferguson comes home. This one's lined out to center field. Billets drifts back and makes the play for out number 2. Good contact there from Jackson Sobel. He is seeing Sam Ferguson well. Had the hard line drive single to start the second inning, and that one was hit well as well. Just got under it a little bit too much. In steps Carter Bartelt with 2 outs, and the first pitch is a strike. So certainly have seen Sam Ferguson settle down a little bit here in inning number 3 for WLA. This one in the dirt. And it hasn't been a single miss for Ferguson when he's missing. He's got that curveball in the dirt, ballooning it over the batter's head. It's been kind of a two-way miss, to kind of throw it in golf terms. If you're familiar with golf, it's you're not gonna play. If you're not a pro, you're gonna miss somewhere, right? If you're either gonna miss it right or left, you don't want to be slicing it and also pulling it, right? If you're a golfer. That one fouled away by Carter Bartelt. Count is 2-2. Right now, Ferguson, it's not just losing him in the dirt, he's also losing him high too, and see if he can get that dialed in throughout the afternoon here. I'll just say this, I think that was a bad analogy. Ferguson gets the strikeout, another backwards K. That's his third straight looking for Sam Ferguson, and it's a 1-2-3 inning, and you can bet that dugout for WLA wanted to see something like that. We head to the fourth, tied at 3 here on Radio Plus.
104 years ago, Silica opened its first store. And as the community grew and home needs changed, so did we. That's why we now carry thousands of top-quality home goods, a vast furniture selection, all your appliance needs, the comfort of bedding, and even TV, security, and home electronics. Everything you need for your home, and the delivery and service after the sale that keeps customers coming back for generations. That's why, since 1922, it's been Silica for your home.
It's the dawn of a new day for Dr. Kathy Doyle Kelly and Doyle Kelly Family Dentistry.
I'm Dr. Dylan Fogel, and I'm now the new owner of Doyle Kelly Family Dentistry. I'm truly honored to carry forward the tradition of personalized care you've come to know and trust. You'll still see Dr. Kathy and all the familiar faces who make this office feel like home. At Doyle Kelly Family Dentistry, we promise to do everything we can to keep you smiling before, after, and even during your appointment.
Doyle Kelly Family Dentistry will be changing its name to Fogel Family Dentistry in 2026. Find Dr. Dylan Fogel on Fond du Lac Avenue in Fond du Lac.
Back here for the top of the fourth, WLA 3, Springs 3. See a contingent of the Ledger golf team down there taking in this game. They had a two-man scramble event today over at Rolling Meadows. And let's see here. 4 under par for Ben Baker and Joey Kuhn. That was good for 5th. Ledger's golf team has won conference for, 12, 13 years in a row, something like that. It's been a pretty special run for the Ledger's golf team. Nolan Dragolovich leads it off for WLA here on the baseball side of things. WLA golf has had a really nice start to their season. Got some young talent on that team as well, so something to keep an eye out for. 2-0 count, and Jackson Sobel has his first strike of inning number 4. Check that, it was a 3-0 count. I thought it was 2, but we'll go with 3-1 here to Nolan Dragolovich. That's what I get for looking at golf leaderboards during the start of the inning. Nolan Dragolovich takes the walk, and WLA for 2 straight innings has the leadoff man on base. Here comes Malachi Wickert. He struck out his first time around. Dragolovich now has reached base on both at-bats. He singled back in the second, now has the walk here in the 4th. Wickert digs in. Sobel peers home. This is a bunt attempt. Nearly caught the camera. Josh having a heart attack up here. We got him calmed down. We're all right. That was, wow. A whole lot of people that are if you're watching on a phone and you got it 6 inches from the face, maybe that was a jump scare for you at home. Pickoff attempt here at first. Dragolovich back in there. We were just talking about that before the game too. We have our camera safely positioned behind the fence, but I've seen a lot of streaming services. Here's the bunt from Wickert over to first base. Big hop. Sobel able to throw out Dragolovich at second. So Wickert ends up at first on the fielder's choice. But Dragolovich out at second, so the sacrifice unable to work that time for Wickert. Dins, who singled down the third baseline his first time around. Wickert back on the check. But yeah, we were talking about, I've seen plenty of streaming services that put their camera inside the fence. Obviously, you don't have to worry about the fence being in your shot, but then you're worried about stuff like that happening. And certainly in baseball, it may be a little more likely to happen than in softball perhaps, but even still. So Hayden Dins with a 1-0 count. See if he can put some hard contact out there again, swinging in, fouling it back. Another one that rattles the camera. That one was quite a bit lower than our camera. You could tell that. I'll tell you what, the one that Wickert fouled back, oof, that was close. 1-1 count here to Hayden Dins. Sobel comes home. That one's upstairs. Check back here on Wickert at first. And he's back. I don't know why you'd. I don't think anyone's running on Killian Stuffle anytime soon. 1-2 count here to Hayden Dins. Top of the order in Evan Cole on deck for the Vikings. They want to get a man in scoring position before that happens, ideally. They will not. Dins strikes out. So a failed sacrifice attempt by Wickert, who is now at first base. And then a strikeout means there's 2 down for Evan Cole, who scored the second run of the afternoon for WLA. Another quick check here from Jackson Sobel. And WLA is leading off a little too early before Sobel even gets set. And so they're getting these quick pickoff attempts. Wickert's going to go. Evan Cole's going to swing, fly this one out to center field. Diving catch made out in center. It's Cale Krusik with a sprawling catch in center field. He retires the side. Had that ball hit the turf, Wickert was scoring. He was moving on the pitch. But Cale Krusik saves a run for the Ledgers. And we head to the bottom of the fourth, tied at 3.
Today's game is brought to you by Edward Jones and these area Edward Jones financial advisors. Robert Bruce, located at 68 North Main Street. Patrick Ellistad, located at 560 Fond du Lac Avenue. Jeff Wills, located at 649 Fond du Lac Avenue. And Matt Helmer, located at 649 Fond du Lac Avenue. Good luck to all athletes in today's game. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Walk right in. That's the laid-back feeling you have when you work with the Roush Insurance Agency in Fond du Lac. Their agents are dedicated to putting your mind at ease when you make your insurance decisions. They live, work, and play here, and will make sure that they are there at the time of need for their clients and families. Visit RoushINS.com for more information or walk right in. 770 South Main Street in Fond du Lac. The Roush Insurance Agency, your hometown insurance team for over 30 years.
Back here, bottom of the fourth inning, WLA and Springs. Told you we'd look at the Flyway Conference standings. Amro and North Fondy had both of their games. North Fondy Oakfield. That is a co-op now, and Oakfield has brought over a couple of really nice players, including part of their pitching staff that has supplemented Drew Stetbacher, and they swept Mayville to start the season a couple of weeks ago. That first pitch from Sam Ferguson is low. So North Fondy, Oakfield, and Amro, they didn't get either game in last week, so both of them remain 2-0 in Flyway competition. They'll reschedule both of those games for later on in the spring. That strike in there for Ferguson. Then Springs and Laconia, both 2-1. Lamira, Mayville, WLA, all 1-2. And then Campbell Sport, after winning the Flyway last year, this is sliding play, not made out there for Wickert, but he keeps it in front of him. Nice play to keep it in front of him at the very least. But leadoff man in Beckett Longley is on base for the Ledgers. But yeah, Campbell Sport shared the title with Mayville season ago, and they're 0-3. Got swept by Springs and then lost to Mayville so far. The series this week, in addition to WLA and Springs that you're watching right now, we have North Fondy, Oakfield, Lamira, Laconia, Campbell Sport, and Amro, Mayville. Those are the matchups this week. First pitch strike to Matt Miller. By the way, Carter Mann on to run for Springs for Beckett Longley. Ferguson checks on Mann and comes home with an off-speed pitch in the dirt, blocked there by Mason Faust. 1-1 count. So North Fondy, Oakfield, they obviously get their Chance to show off against Lamira. That's inside. That Laconia Campbellsport matchup is certainly interesting. There really aren't any easy outs, right, in this flyweight conference. It's always so balanced and so good, but man, Laconia seems to be hitting their stride here early in the season, and Campbellsport quite the opposite. That pitch in there for a strike. It's a 2-2 count here to Matt Miller. Ferguson comes home. Another good block by Mason Faust. And the count is full. Try to see if we can check on some of the live scores, if we're able to find any of them here this afternoon. Mayville playing Amro, I mentioned, and the Cardinals are behind 3-0 to the Foxes. This is a ground ball back to the pitcher. Man was on the move, and so the only place to go with it was to first base, and a sacrifice there for Matt Miller. And good decision to be running on the pitch as well for Carter Mand. Bryce Loker is on the mound for Amro this afternoon. He's the Division I committee. He's going to South Dakota State for Amro. And, that's obviously one game a week is going to be a tough one against Amro. Can you win the other one? That's going to kind of be the interesting conversation throughout this conference season. And similarly for North Fondy Oakfield, Drew Stetbacher, a first-team all-conference pitcher last season, virtually unhittable. And now North Fondy Oakfield adds a little bit more depth behind him on the mound. So it'll be interesting to see if North Fondy is a real player in the conference this season. Kind of continue to figure that out as the year goes along. 1-1 count here to Garver Beekle. Campbellsport and Laconia playing right now. Laconia leads that contest 7-1, but Campbellsport has the bases loaded right now. So that one in progress as well. I believe that one's being played over at Campbellsport. This one lined into center. This is going to get down. Man, going to come around third, and he's going to score. Billets hits the cut, and Springs retakes the lead on the RBI single from Garver Beekle. So some smart base running by Carter Mand, along with a timely hit there from Garver Beekle. And Springs retakes the lead 4-3. That one gets past Faust. I mean, I'll tell you what, Mason Faust has been a brick wall back there. Some more encouragement there from Coach Mike Seibel for pitcher Sam Ferguson, who has struggled to find it here today. And that time Faust just couldn't get there. Hard to blame Faust. He's been all over the place back there, blocking balls left and right. So now Beekle into scoring position. And Calvin Steff is up 1-0. This one lined out into right field. And Beekle just had to pause there, freeze on the liner. That's what the coaches always say. That's what Beekle did. So he's at third base. Runners on the corners for the Ledgers. In the top of the order with Max Sidonico back up at the dish. Another chance for Max Sidonico, who had 2 RBIs on a single back in the second inning. See what he can do here in the fourth. No update from North Fondy Oakfield against Lamira right now. So it gave you a couple of updates there from around the Flyway Conference. Here's an off-speed pitch from Ferguson that gets in there. Strike number 1. Oh, man, a ground ball from a... That's what WLA is looking for right here. Here's a swing and a foul straight back. So a 0-2 count here to Max Sidonico. WLA would also take a strikeout, obviously. Here's the pitch. Swung on. Sadonico out to third base, and no play there for Nolan Dragolovich. So an RBI on an infield single for Max Sadonico, and the lead is 5-3 here for Springs. Great piece of hitting by Sadonico. Nice play made over there at third by Nolan Dragolovich. Do have an update from North Fondy Oakfield. They lead Lamira 7-0. I don't know who started that game for North Fondy. Obviously, as I mentioned, Drew Stetbacher has been, last year North Fondy was the last place team in the flyway by some margin, and they were upsetting teams at this top of the league. And they took Campbellsport right down to the wire. Laconia was just able to scrape across a couple of runs on some errors and just throwing the ball around a little bit. So conversation here at the pitcher's mound, and we'll see if Coach Mike Seibel wants to make a change or if he is going to stick with Sam Ferguson. It's 5-3. 2 more runs have come across this inning. Beckett Longley singled. Carter Mann came on to run for him, and Garver Beekle drove him in with a single of his own. Calvin Steffes moved Beekle over to third base, and then Max Sadonico with an RBI single leaves us where we are now, which is runners on first and second. With just one out, excuse me. There is one out. Matt Miller grounded out, so they got the scoreboard out in center is currently incorrect, but both teams know what the situation is, and Ferguson stays in for WLA. Ferguson comes home, bunt there from Cale Krusik, the attempt, and Krusik goes right through it. Krusik in a little bit of a slump right now, and you play baseball for any amount of time, you're going to find yourself in one of those, and Krusik is one of the best. I mean, just real heart and soul kind of player for Springs last year. It just seemed to make every big time play in the second half of that season when they went on their postseason run. That was upstairs from Ferguson. Krusik still looks like he's going to try to get something down here, which would bring up Killian Stuffle with a couple of runners in scoring position. Yeah, down the stretch last year, you look at Cale Krusik's Max Sadonico, and obviously Ben Anderson was the driving factor and the emotional leader on that team. Krusik fouls this one back into the netting and kind of throws his head back in disgust as he's not able to get a bunt down here with a couple of opportunities. And we'll see if they abandon that and swing away here with the 1-2 count. So if those results hold, Amarillo and North Fondy will be 3-0. Laconia will be a game behind at 3-1. Springs will move to 3-1 if they're able to hold off WLA here. A lot of ball game left in our game, obviously. Just the 4th inning. Ferguson comes home. This one flown out to center. Billets camps underneath it, makes the play. No throw as Steffes not trying to advance, so the F8 does not move the runners around. But still, here comes Killian Stuffle, the catcher for Springs, with a couple of big base runners out there, some insurance runs for Springs that they would love to have. If you're just joining us, Springs led this thing 3-1, then WLA the very next inning, top of the 3rd, got those 2 runs back, tied it up at 3. WLA has run into some outs this afternoon. Ferguson, the 2nd inning for him was the one where he struggled to make Springs hit it. I mean, walks and hit by pitches was really the problem there, but this 4th inning has the Ledgers start to touch him up a little bit. 4 singles here in this 4th inning, and now Ferguson falls behind 2-1 to the dangerous Killian Stuffle. as you'd expect from a guy hitting in the 3-hole. He is an RBI monster. Another off-speed pitch from Ferguson that misses, and it's 3-1. Again, we kind of mentioned this earlier. It was either the second or third inning that we said that when that off-speed pitch gets in there for a strike, Ferguson has been just fine today. It's when he's missed, that's when he's run into some issues. That 3-1 Bender able to find the zone, and it's a full count. Runners will be on the move with the pitch. Anything that finds grass will score Max Sedonico. It'll score 2. Stuffle lines it down the right field line. Din's out there. Can't get there. This will score a pair for Springs. Stuffle around and cruises into second with a 2 RBI double. A big-time double for Killian Stuffle. Drives in both Calvin Steffes and Max Sedonico. And just like that, it's a 7-3 lead for the Ledgers. Jack Judkins out to second base to run for Stuffle. And that'll bring up Jackson Sobel, the pitcher, who there is no one happier than he to see what his catcher just did for him, which is add a couple more insurance runs. That's now 4 across here in the 4th for the Ledgers. Fastball for Ferguson in the dirt. And Jackson Sobel singled back in the second, flew out to center. Both hard hit balls his first 2 times through the order. Two-0 count here. Sobel waits, off speed pitch inside, nearly caught the elbow of Jackson Sobel that time. That time he did. Last at bat back in the 3rd, he kind of wished he would have stayed in there and taken the hit by pitch. That time he left the elbow in there and just curved around it. Ferguson finds a strike with the 3-0 pitch, so 3-1 here to Jackson Sobel. Can he score Jack Judkins from second? This is fouled straight down, and it's full. So Judkins, who has good speed out there at second, will get a head start and should score on pretty much any base hit. 3-2 count. That one in the dirt. Sobel stays alive. WLA wants, love to get out of this without any more damage. For Springs, man, if you could push this to a 5-run lead against a crosstown rival, that'd feel pretty good. This is a reaching flick out to center field. Billets dives, can't make the play. And Judkins will score easily. Good effort by Harrison Billets out there, but a RBI single for Jackson Sobel, and he continues to help himself. He's now scored a run and has an RBI. He's 2 for 3 on the day and currently in line to get the win on the bump as well. Up steps Carter Bartelt. He is the 9th hitter. Springs batting around here in the bottom of the 4th. By the way, courtesy runner is Tyler Cant for the Ledgers at first, number 8. And that was low. Ball 1. Bartelt is 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking. There's a throw into right field. Faust got a little aggressive, threw behind Cant, and Cant will move up on the throwing error by Faust. Miscommunication there between Faust and Cole. Cole wasn't there. And they probably weren't going to get Cant either way. I mean, there was a good secondary lead that Cant made, but that would have been some type of tag made there by Evan Cole. There's ball 3. So a 3-0 count. I mean, sound like a broken record up here with how many 3-ball counts Sam Ferguson has faced tonight. There's ball 4. Another 4-pitch walk. Runners on first and second with 2 down. Can WLA get the next one? Brings up the man who started the inning, Beckett Longley. Beckett is 1 for 1, had a sacrifice back in the second inning, and then singled to start this offensive outburst off for the Ledgers. Ferguson comes home. Longley watches a strike at the letters. Kind of looked back like he thought that was maybe a little upstairs. I did too. But that got in there. Ferguson comes home again. That one swung on, fouled straight back by Beckett Longley. And it's 0-2. A rare 0-2 count for Sam Ferguson here tonight. Wind is all but gone, by the way. No more breeze out to center field. Here's the 0-2 count. Bender fouled back by Beckett Longley. He stays alive. Look out down there. Catch someone's ankle. 5-run lead for Springs. All 5 of the current lead coming in this inning. And WLA gets out of it with a strike. Strikeout to end the inning, but not before the Ledgers bring 10 batters to the plate and push 5 runs across. It's 8-3 Springs headed to the 5th.
Whatever it takes.
AirTech delivers whatever it takes service to take care of you. Bryant and AirTech Heating of Fond du Lac.
We return here for the top of the 5th inning. Jordan King with you here at the Mount Calvary Athletic Complex. Josh punching the buttons and Paul on the camera for us this evening. Thanks to them for their terrific work. And the Vikings looking to respond here in inning number 5. They gave up 5 runs in the 4th. Singles for Beckett Longley, Garver Beekle, Calvin Steffes, Max Sedonico, and Jackson Sobel. Double by Killian Stuffle. That was the big hit of the inning. 2 out, 2 RBI double. Looked like maybe WLA was fixing to get out of it, and with just a 2-run deficit, but not able to do so. So we head to the 5th. Here is Jackson Sobel, who's done a really nice job this afternoon, coming home to Isaac Lamont. Lamont is 1 for 2. Doubled back in the 3rd. Fouls that one away. Down the right field line. That was over in our vicinity. I think we're going to catch one up here some point this season. That's my goal. You gotta make use of it. We're out here at the Mount Calvary Athletic Club. Here, this one blooped into left field. That's going to get down out there. Isaac Lamont finds a way on base for the 2nd time today. Normally we'd be at Harebaker Field, but that's getting the facelift. Putting the turf in over there for the Dock Spiders and the university as well as Springs. And that'll be great when it's finished. It's like traffic in Wisconsin, right? That'll be great when it's finished. Till then, we're out here in Mount Calvary. So Lamont gets on base. Here's Owen Elke. Elke reached on the E6 back in the third inning that helped drive in a couple of runs. Rare mistake by Max Sedonico. That one's past Killian Stuffle and all the way to the backstop. So Lamont advances to second on the wild pitch, and Owen Elke evens the count at 1-1. Elke waits for Sabel's pitch. Kicks and deals outside, does not catch the corner, and it's 2-1. Good looking fastball there, right on the corner, but just not quite catching enough of the plate. Sabel comes home on the 2-1, excuse me, and makes it a 2-2 count. Mason Faust waits on deck. He's 0 for 2, and Sam Ferguson is in the hole. The 2-2 to Elke. That one's upstairs. Did he go? He did. So a strikeout for Owen Elke. It's tough for an umpire to be able to see that out at second base. You really, I know that's what you got to do in a two-man crew scenario. I just really don't think you should be appealing down to second base for that call. But from our vantage point is right where you would kind of appeal to, and it did look like Elke went. So that's the first out of the inning. Mason Faust ahead 1-0. This one flied out to center field. Krusek didn't get a great jump, and that's going to fall out there. Kind of a lazy fly ball, but it gets down for Mason Faust. And it'll be runners at the corners with one out for the Vikings. So Vikings trying to come right back and just kind of chisel into this deficit. When they gave up the 3 runs in the second inning, they came right back in the third and scored 2 to tie it up. And currently putting some pressure back on Springs and Jackson Sabel here in the 5th. Sam Ferguson comes to the plate. As I mentioned, he is 0 for 1. He walked back in the second inning to get on base, then lined one out to left field. Put a pretty good charge into it, but Matt Miller had it read correctly and made the play. Sabel fires a strike in there to even the count up at 1. By the way, WLA would ideally use a courtesy runner for their catcher, Mason Faust. Both of them are warming up out in the bullpen. Mason Faust's brother, Bodie, out there catching for Oliver Yenter. So they have no one on the bench to put into the game for a courtesy runner. So Faust is out there running for himself. Sabel checks on Faust. Now looks into Ferguson. That one's low. Ferguson a ball away from working his second walk of the afternoon. 3-1 count. Ball here would load the bases for Harrison Billets. Sabel trying to avoid that. Kicks and deals. This one's in the dirt, and it is a bases loaded scenario for Harrison Billets. The second walk of the day for Sam Ferguson. And a big spot here for WLA to try to get back into this thing. Just one out. We'll see what Coach Seibel, if he wants to do some small ball here or what. But before that, going to have a conversation here. Will Springs with Jackson Sabel. Bottom of the 4th inning, Springs pushed 5 runs across if you're just joining us and built this 8-3 lead. But here comes WLA trying to march right back. And Coach Seibel from Winnebago Lutheran going to use this opportunity to talk to his young sophomore outfielder, Harrison Billets, who's in a massive, massive spot here to try to get WLA back into this thing. Lamont's got great speed at third. Not terrific speed out at second with Mason Faust. They are going to make a pitching change here, and they're going to bring in Micah Schneider. So let's take a timeout here with the pitching change, and we'll head over to our Lens Truck Center Play of the Week here on Radio Plus.
Each week, Lens Truck Center and Radio Plus Video Sports salute a great student athlete of the week. Congratulations to Lamira's number 10, Logan Wendler.
Full count, 2 outs here in the bottom of the second, and a runner on third. Flynn O'Lear in the batter's box. Logan Wendler out of the stretch. Fires home, upstairs, rung him up. Throws him in the box, and the Lions able to get out of it. They leave one stranded. It's 2-1 after 2.
The Lamira junior pitcher leads the team with 7 strikeouts.
Like my coach said, Mr. Lehman, just keep my head straight on. Don't think about anything. Just keep pumping. Keep going.
Lamira held on for a 4-3 victory on the road in Rosendale last week. Logan Wendler, junior for the Lions, our student athlete of the week.
It's awesome. Every time the season starts, you want to get that first one, and then you can start rolling from there. So,
if you want a truck or an SUV, go to Lynn till you like what you see. Hundreds of trucks all on one lot. If you want a truck, it's what we've got. Lance Truck, Lance Truck. We got the trucks at Lance Truck.
All right, back here, Harrison Billets in the box and Micah Schneider on the bump here for St. Mary's Springs. So Jackson Sobel will head over to third base. Just a straight swap there with Micah Schneider. Schneider kicks and deals. That's inside against Harrison Billets. So a 1-1 count here and a big-time spot for Schneider to step into as well. You always, as a pitcher, I would assume you want to step in as cleanly as you can, but here the base is loaded. There's a big swing from Harrison Billets, but he missed. And it's a 1-2 count to the Vikings sophomore center fielder. This would be a big out if they could get it here via the strikeout. That's just a little bit low. A terrific, outside is what the plate umpire said. It looked mighty, mighty close, and a terrific frame job by Killian Stuffle. I thought that was in there for strike number 3. 2-2 count here to Billets. Schneider comes home. This one lazily flied out to second base, and it's a double play. How about that from Calvin Steffes, and how about that from Micah Schneider? The double play ends the inning, lined out to second base. Faust was running on the contact, and the Vikings leave them loaded in the top of the 5th. We go to the bottom. It's 8-3.
At Radio Plus, we're proud to bring you stream team coverage of local sporting events. Our team is dedicated to providing live coverage from across Wisconsin, supporting the local teams and communities we know and love. What began as a one-person operation with play-by-play on radio has grown into a 5- or 6-person production. Keeping pace with the latest technology, equipment, and personnel is not only demanding, but costly. If you'd like to support this broadcast as a sponsor or a donor in any way, please log on radioplusinfo.com.
Well, it's been anything but a clean game for Winnebago Lutheran. They have made their fair share of mistakes today. And there's another running on the contact and getting doubled off to end that 5th inning, and they leave the bases loaded. Billets with a line drive out to second base, right at the plate, the base itself, and good range by Calvin Steffes to just get over there, make the play, step on second. There's the inning. And there, hey, I tell you what, I mean, if WLA pushes a couple across there, it certainly changes things. But going back to that second inning when WLA ran into an out, the issues in the second inning on the defensive side, hitting batters, walking batters. It's just has not been clean enough from a WLA standpoint for them to feel like, they should be. Sometimes you can just say, man, we hit them hard and they hit them right at them. And I'd say today for WLA, they kind of, if they look at the performance as a whole, they maybe understand why they're down 8-3. Just a few too many mistakes for the Vikings today. And for Springs, hey, they've had traffic in the second and fourth innings. They went 1-2-3 in the first and 1-2-3 in the third. But the second and fourth innings, man, they put a ton of traffic out there, and they've earned every bit of this 8-3 lead. So Oliver Yenter on to pitch for the Vikings. Left-handed reliever coming on for WLA. Ferguson goes over to first base. Evan Cole shifts to third base. And I believe Nolan Dragolovich has moved to the bench for the time being. This is lined into center field, and a leadoff single here for the Ledgers. It's Matt Miller. And Miller's going to get a pinch runner here. It's Emerson Dreher. That'll bring up Garver Beekle. Beekle today, 1 for 1. He got hit by that pitch that I was talking about back in the second inning. Oh, he puts a charge into this one out to left field. Lined in there for a single. That was hit mighty hard by Garver Beekle, and he's got a couple of singles here this afternoon. And Springs is just continuing what they did in the last inning, which was tattoo the baseball. Calvin Steffes comes to the plate. Number 9 hitter, who is 1 for 2. Hit a single and scored back in the fourth inning. Yenter working from the stretch. There's a bunt attempt. That one in the dirt. Now fouled. Fouled off there by Calvin Steffes. Did get a piece of it. Springs looking dangerous here in the fifth as well. Yenter checks back at second base, comes home with it. There's another foul on the bunt attempt from Cal Steffes. Max Sedonico in the top of the order is on deck for the Ledgers. Breeze has picked up a little bit again. Not like when we first pitched this thing here this afternoon. Someone would have hit something high like that. This is deep out to right field, and this one's got a chance, and it's gone. How about that from a 9-hitter? Cal Steffes, the wind picked up right at the right time for the second baseman to poke one out of here directly down the right field line. And Springs builds an 11-3 lead. Kind of blocked out from that. There's a post right next to me. I was just waiting for the eruption of the crowd, and sure enough, Calvin Steffes takes Yenter yard for a 3-run dinger here in the fifth. And it's 11-3. Sedonico digs in. Here's ball number 1. And Springs having fun now. It's always good to get a win over a crosstown rival, but when you can do it in this type of fashion, take that every time. Those are the fun ones. It's a long baseball season, and they all don't go this way, that's for sure. Sedonico hits this one a mile in the air, but wrong part of the ballpark. And an F7 is the first out of the inning for WLA. Sedonico prior to that had reached base on every occasion. He was 2 for 2 with a couple of singles and a walk. And if he was a lefty and hit that down the right field line, that might have had the same fate as Calvin Steffes' ball. Here's Cale Krusik trying to find something here. He's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Also flew out to center back in the 4th inning. And he'd take a base knock right here, kind of slump buster. You'd love to have one right now if you're Cale Krusik. Yenter comes home. That's grounded to third base. Backhand there by Evan Cole. Throws across the diamond. What a play. And it's just one of those stretches for Cale Krusik. He can hit the ball down the third base line. Tough play for the defensive defender to make, and it don't matter. It's one of those stretches where he just can't find it right now. Can't find a gap, can't find a blooper, nothing. So he moves to 0 for 4, but he's maybe seeing some signs there that Cale Krusik is about to bust out of this thing. Got good contact on that fly out to center field, and that time hit one sharply to third base. So 2 outs here for Killian Stuffle. After the 3-run bomb by Calvin Steffes. This one, hammered down the first base line. About 3 feet foul. So a 1-2 count here for Killian Stuffle. Yenter. Strike away from getting out of this thing. He's settled in after the rough start to this inning. This is blooped over to first base and caught by Sam Ferguson. So a foul out to end the inning. But Springs gets 3 more on the home run from Calvin Steffes, who smacked it over the right field wall. Let's take a timeout. We go to the 6th inning. Springs leads it 11-3.
At Musa Sheet Metal, they spend generations building a better everyday life. They don't just build panels, they build a legacy. They're growing, innovating, and pushing the limits again with their brand new 24-gauge stocked steel line. Musa colors created by the Musa team, 25 bold choices ready to go. Delivering the best solutions in architectural sheet metal. Say hi to the Musa apprentices. They're your neighbors, your classmates, and the future of the industry. Musa Sheet Metal, revolutionizing steel, building the future.
Schneider back on the bump for the Ledgers to start the 6th inning. This game was tied at 3, headed to the bottom of the 4th. 5 runs in the bottom of the 4th, another 3 in the bottom of the 5th, and Springs in control 11-3. Some scores from elsewhere. Mayville in their last at bat, they trail Omro 3-1. And it just went final over in Campbellsport. Laconia takes care of Campbellsport 8-4 the final. Laconia moves to 3-1 in flyaway play. Campbellsport drops to 0-4 to start their conference season. North Fondy looked good for a win. They were up big against Lamira. So, again, if North Fondy beats Lamira, they move to 4-0. Omro trying to hang on to a 2-run lead down in Mayville. Micah Schneider fires another one in there for a strike. It's 9-3 in the bottom of the 7th currently for North Fond du Lac. So perhaps Lamira able to chase Stetbacher, although we don't know that Stetbacher started that game, but just assuming that you'd throw your ace out there on a Tuesday afternoon, although Did not see Max Sadonico today for Springs. 2-2 count here for Nolan Dragolovich. And the Vikings trailing by 8. So yeah, we'll kind of re-update those standings, but Amro, North Fond du Lac, trying to stay unbeaten. Dragolovich watches that one. That's outside. Full count to the senior Dragolovich. Springs would join Laconia at 3-1 if they're able to stave off a crazy comeback by WLA. Dragolovich stays alive, following it straight back. Mayville would get its second win of the season. They would move to 2-2. WLA would fall to 1-3. Lamira would fall to 1-3. Here's an off-speed pitch, just missed for Micah Schneider, and it's a walk for Nolan Dragolovich. He has reached base all 3 times, couple of walks and a single for Nolan Dragolovich. He has an RBI today as well. That brings up Malachi Wickert. Check that, Oliver Yenter is at the plate. So Dragolovich must have replaced Wickert out in left field. That's the hardest one for us to see with the glare from the sun is way out there to left field. 2-0 count here to Oliver Yenter. Schneider checking on Dragolovich. Comes home. Good looking pitch there. Yeah, right at the knees. That's a great spot by Micah Schneider. It's a 2-1 count. Schneider comes home. This one hit a mile in the air. Should stay in the infield. Ranging back and making the play is Max Sadonico. So a pop out at time from Yenter. First out of the inning, and it brings up Hayden Dins. Dins out in right field. He got the front row seat to the Calvin Steffes home run in the bottom of the 5th inning. Dragolovich takes his lead over at first. Schneider peers in. I don't think he's too worried about him, but Stuffel's going to fire it down here nonetheless. Dragolovich gets back. That was a strike, so 1-1 is the count with 1 out. And an 8-run lead for the Ledgers. Man, what an avalanche these last 2 innings have been for Springs. We've talked about them starting fast, maybe not the quickest start. Here's Dins on the ground to Sadonico, who tried to rush it a little bit and threw it away. So it'll be first and third on the second error of the game by Max Sadonico. I think he wanted to try to get to second and get Dragolovich. That was going to be a really tough play regardless. Tried to get it over to second base, kind of rushed it a little bit, mishandled it, dropped it, and then threw it away over at first as well. The throw wouldn't have beaten Dins anyway. So WLA, some more traffic here. Here's the top of the order as well. And Schneider in a jam here, not much of his own doing though. But yeah, we were talking about how Springs starts games fast, or has started games fast at the early portion of the season. Not a very quick start, although, you did have 3 runs in the second inning, build a lead, put some pressure on WLA. But man, the 4th and 5th inning, that was when this game was really won, when they started to touch up Ferguson and Yenter and really got after it on the offensive side of things. And they just did a great job to let the snowball continue to build, right? Couple of pickoff attempts later, it's still a 1-0 count to Evan Cole. Dins at first, Dragolovich at third. And another pickoff attempt. Something about, Hayden Din's over there. They want to continue to check on. He's not taking that big of a lead, I'll tell you what. It's a pretty short lead, but a couple of throws over there nonetheless. Comes home with it finally after 3 pickoff moves, and in there at the belt to Evan Cole. Cole is 1 for 3 today. Big hack at that one and missed. Singled back in the third, sandwiched by a strikeout and a fly out to center field. That fly out to center, that was a beautiful diving play made by Cale Krusik out there in center field. Evan Cole stays alive, and that would have, who knows how that would have changed things. WLA had a runner on first base that was moving with the pitch, and that gets down. WLA would have retaken the lead. Who knows? That might have changed things a little bit. Here comes the 1-2, and it's a little bit upstairs. 2-2 count to Evan Cole. Baseball games are always just if you can think through them, you look through a box score, there's just so many of those moments, right, that in a baseball game that could change things. Check swing there from Evan Cole. I thought that looked like a pretty good pitch, but a little bit upstairs to the home plate umpire, and it's a full count. That looked like it was right at the bottom of the letters. I thought that was a perfect location from Schneider. And that one's upstairs as well. So a walk to Evan Cole will load the bases here for WLA. So just hang on here. Don't go anywhere. Just what do you think? This game is teetering on becoming a blowout, then WLA, yeah, they had some base runners in the last inning. Had the bases loaded and then left them loaded. Chance here for Isaac Lamont with just 1 out. WLA fans, this is exactly what WLA had in the last inning. 1 out, bases loaded. WLA found a way to double themselves off and end the inning. So just a conversation here for Springs with Micah Schneider and Killian Stuffel on how they want to approach the meat of this WLA order. Isaac Lamont, Owen Elke, Mason Faust. Those are the next 3 due up for the Vikings. Then Sam Ferguson and Harrison Billets. And the only reason I go that far down the order is WLA needs they need that many batters to come to the plate. Yeah, they only have 5 outs to play with yet, and they need a heap of runs. So it's a 1-0 count here to Isaac Lamont from Micah Schneider, who has maybe unfairly been put in back-to-back bases loaded situations. He got out of it with the line drive last inning, but he's behind Isaac Lamont 2-0 here. Schneider came in with the bases loaded. He was not responsible for any of those runners out there, but he got out of it. Here's the 2-0 pitch upstairs. Isaac Lamont reached base twice, a single and a double. And that one in there from Micah Schneider. 3-1 count. Grounded out to Max Sedonico to start the game. That's his only out. 2 for 3 is Isaac Lamont. Here comes Micah Schneider with the 3-1, excuse me. And that one's in there as well. So a couple of strikes watched by Lamont. And a full count here. Micah Schneider battling all the way back. Schneider comes home. This one inside and ripped foul. So Lamont this time, his turn to battle back. Here in the 6th inning is a gorgeous day out today. And he gets Lamont on the swing. Big time out there from Micah Schneider. He was behind 3-0 and comes all the way back to strike him out. WLA 1 out away from leaving the bases loaded in back-to-back innings. And the 8-run deficit is one thing, but to leave 6 runners on in 2 innings is another. At first pitch low to Owen Elke. Elke waits for the 1-0 pitch. That one's upstairs. Schneider comes home. That one looked inside. Yeah, 3-0. Back-to-back 3-0 counts for WLA hitters against Micah Schneider. Can Schneider work his way back on this hitter as well? Working against Owen Elke. And Schneider steps off. Elke today 0 for 3. Reached one time on an error by Max Sedonico back in the 3rd. That one's downstairs, so he reaches for the 2nd time today and drives in Nolan Dragolovich. So WLA able to tack another on. And it's 11-4. So here comes Mason Faust. Faust was the one doubled off back in the 5th inning. To end it, he ran on contact in the line drive straight to Calvin Steffes, who was able to step on second, end the inning, and then promptly come back up at the in the bottom of the 5th and smash one over the right field fence. 0-1 count to Faust. Been a while since Schneider has been able to work with a lead in the count, but good job to get that first strike across and then a ball. Schneider working here in the top of the 6th, the game that has kind of gone back and forth. WLA took an early lead. Springs then put 3 on the board in the 2nd. WLA responded with 2 more of their own in the 3rd, tie things up at 3. Schneider comes home. That's inside. It's another 3-ball count. It's 3-1 to Mason Faust, and Stuffel's just going to have a conversation with Micah Schneider. Got to believe this conversation is, hey, man, big lead. You don't got to be perfect. Just got to throw strikes. You got to believe that's the conversation there from the veteran catcher. So it's 3-3. Headed to the bottom of the 4th. Springs scored 5 and then tacked on another 3 in the 5th, and that's how we get here. Here's a line drive out to left field, and the play made out there in left. A great job by Emerson Dreher out there to run down a hard-hit ball from Mason Faust. Just couldn't find a gap out there in left center field. So a loud out number 3, but an out it is, and we head to the bottom of the 6th. It's 11-4.
Cleaning your gutters is a pain, but ignoring them could ruin the value of your home. Gutter Helmet is the solution. Choose the perfect color to blend with your home, and our certified technicians will install Gutter Helmet in less than a day. Call Gutter Helmet today to never clean your gutters again.
At Radio Plus, we're proud to bring you stream team coverage of local sporting events. Our team is dedicated to providing live coverage from across Wisconsin, supporting the local teams and communities we know and love. What began as a one-person operation with play-by-play on radio has grown into a 5 or 6-person production. Keeping pace with the latest technology, equipment, and personnel is not only demanding, but costly. If you'd like to support this broadcast as a sponsor or a donor in any way, please scan the QR code on the screen.
All right, back here at the Mount Calvary Athletic Club. 11-4 is our score here. Amro beats Mayville 3-1. Laconia beats Campbellsport 8-4. And we'll get a score update here from North Fond du Lac. North Fond du Lac knocked off Lemira. Drew Stetbacher did get the not on the bump for North Fond du Lac today, so maybe not surprisingly. North Fond du Lac wins that game 9-3. So North Fondy and Amro both stay unbeaten, 3-0 in the flyway. A half game back from them will be Laconia, is Laconia, and will be Springs should the Ledgers avoid a collapse here in the 6th inning. Lamira falls to 1-3. WLA going to fall to 1-3. Campbellsport is 0-4. Mayville falls to 1-3. So some separation starting to happen in the Flyway Conference. The top half and the bottom half, perhaps. Ground ball over here to third base and thrown away by Evan Cole as Jack Sabel legs out what would have been an infield single, but he advances to second on the throwing error as well. So a leadoff runner on again for Springs. That's been a pretty consistent happening. Here comes Carter Bartelt to the dish. Jack Sabel taking a nice healthy lead out there at second base. First pitch in there for a ball. Yenter comes home with a low one. Yeah, WLA, I mean, it would have taken a lot of big-time hitting, but you can't say the Vikings didn't have their chances. Leave the bases loaded back-to-back innings. This is straight up in the air for Bartelt. No one can find it. Faust turned the wrong way. It would have been a tough play either way for the catcher to go make. But he had an opportunity. Instead, it's a 2-1 count here to Carter Bartelt with Jackson Sabel out at second base. Sabel still in line for the win. But Micah Schneider's done a nice job in relief. Yenter low. 3-1. Big time lead for Jackson Sabel again at second base, and it's a walk to Carter Bartelt. So here comes Beckett Longley. That is, by the way, the third walk of the day for Carter Bartelt. He's also scored a run. Struck out looking back in the fourth. That's the only blemish, but he is 0 for 1. Longley reached on a single. He got the whole party started back in the fourth inning for Springs with his single out to right field. Springs would go on to score 5 runs in the fourth inning. Coming off a strikeout last time in the fifth is Beckett Longley, but he's ahead, I'll check it, even at 1-1. Bartelt at first, Sabel at second for the Ledgers, who have a 7-run lead here in the sixth. Another one in the dirt, blocked by Mason Faust. He's been busy back there today, has Mason Faust. I think he's done a really nice job to kind of manage his pitchers, who maybe didn't quite have their usual top-tier stuff today. And that one's not in there either. A 3-1 count to Beckett Longley. Yenter comes home. That one's low as well. Another walk for Yenter. Loads the bases up with nobody out. And Coach Mike Seibel, I think, is going to turn to one of his young athletes. By the way, Will Stelmacher going out there to run for Beckett Longley. Looks like it's going to be Wickert, who started in left field. Malachi Wickert is coming on to pitch for the Vikings. and he'll warm it up. Let's take a timeout, come back with Wickert on the mound in a tough spot. They'll have the bases loaded when we return.
Taco Bell's new Lutz value menu has so much Lutz, it's starting to go to people's heads. I'm the Lutzierge.
Which is the mini taco salad fork?
Here to help them cope. So when you try the mini taco salad, beefy potato loaded griller, or chips and nacho supreme dip, enjoy the Lutz. Just don't let it go to your head.
Yeah, bring the car around.
You know there's no valet.
Then who's getting the car?
Taco Bell's new Lutz value menu. 10 extravagant indulgences, all $3 or less.
Today's game is brought to you by Edward Jones and these area Edward Jones financial advisors. Robert Bruce, located at 68 North Main Street. Patrick Ellistad, located at 560 Fond du Lac Avenue. Jeff Wills, located at 649 Fond du Lac Avenue. And Matt Helmer, located at 649 Fond du Lac Avenue. Good luck to all athletes in today's game. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
All right, back here at Mount Calvary Athletic Club. Malachi Wickert on to pitch for the Vikings. Yenter will see his day come to an end. The bases are going to be juiced. As we mentioned, Will Stellmacher is on to run for the Ledgers. He'll replace Beckett Longley out there. Bartelt at second and Sabel at third, which means it'll be Matt Miller to the plate if he does hit, but he doesn't. It's going to be Emerson Dreher. So a chance for Dreher, who had a tough one against Laconia, had a couple hit out to him. One of them in particular that maybe he would say he should have had. It was tough conditions out there in the outfield. This one, kind of a swing and bunt down the first baseline. It's going to be a tough play. Ferguson over to first is able to make it, but an RBI for Emerson Dreher as Jackson Sabel comes around to score. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, that works as a sacrifice for the Ledgers and brings up Garver Beekle. Still two runners in scoring position for Beekle. Bender there from Malachi Wickert. Not in there. So it's 12-4. And Wickert comes back home. Hard ground ball goes off the foot of Wickert over to Elke in the dirt, and Ferguson can't pick it. Two more runs come around to score, and that should do it. Yeah, two more around, and there's the 10-run lead for the Ledgers, and they are going to win this game in 6 via a little bit of an unflattering walk-off, but hey, Garver Beekle will take it off of the foot of Wickert. And then Ferguson couldn't handle the throw from over at shortstop with Owen Elke. So the final score here in 6, 14-4. Springs, as I mentioned, moves to 3-1 in the Flyway Conference. And they will be even with Laconia, who they lost to last week. And both teams just a half game behind the 3-0 pair of North Fondy Oakfield and Amro. Maybe somewhat surprisingly here to start this Flyway season. And then we mentioned the other four teams that are at the bottom half of the conference. WLA is 1-3, Lamira 1-3, Mayville 1-3, and Campbellsport 0-4. So there you go. That's what the Flyway looks like. Let's point out a couple of key moments and key players in this game. The win goes to Jackson Sabel. He pitched a nice game, through 4 innings, and obviously gotten that bases loaded jam there in the 5th. Micah Schneider came in relief and did a really nice job as well. Sabel gave up 3 of the runs. Schneider gave up 1 of the runs to WLA. But it was all Springs after that 4th inning. Springs scores 5 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, and then 3 more in the 6th to win this thing 14-4, 11 runs in the final 3 innings. And Max Sedonico had 3 RBIs today, 2 RBIs for Killian Stuffle. Jackson Sobel had an RBI and scored twice. Carter Bartelt scored a couple of times. Beckett Longley had a nice day at the dish, getting on a couple of times as well. How about Calvin Steffes? He had the big hit of the day, a 3-run home run in the 5th inning. So excellent job by the Ledgers, especially second half of the contest, to pour it on and get a big-time conference win in 6 innings. The final score, 14-4 against Winnebago Lutheran. These two teams will hook it up later on in the week if the weather holds. That's always a big if this time of year, and already the schedules are starting to shift around a little bit after last week's tsunami that we got a couple of days in a row. All right, Jordan King, Josh Guy, Paul on the camera. We got everyone up here. Want to thank all of them. Thanks to all our sponsors up and down the line, and thank you for tuning in. Springs wins it 14-4. And we say good night from the Mount Calvary Athletic Complex with the Ledgers moving to 3-1 in conference play.